back, everybody. This is episode number 2 of Living Soil Questions from Reddit, where we answer questions that were posted on the subreddit No-Till Growery. This is the second installment. I think the first one went better than expected.
It was cool.
Yeah.
It went really well.
We didn't go down in flames yet.
Yeah.
We'll give you another opportunity, apparently. So let's get into it. First, I wanted to go over what everybody learned from the first video. One thing. Matthew, what'd you learn from the first video?
Oh, what we learned?
Yeah, what'd you learn from the first video?
That's funny.
That people have funny usernames.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's
I
fair.
guess that's fair.
We only had one, though.
We had two, nasty,
Yeah.
and
I expected way more. I expected
some.
some that were just gonna.
I was ready
leave
for
us.
some heat.
I really was.
I wasn't
usernames.
expecting that at all. I wasn't
Yeah.
thinking about that.
That's what I was waiting for.
I poo and your shoe comes out. I'm like, okay.
That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah,
What'd you
I
learn?
learned maybe I shouldn't say that good mulch layer is compost. It is a good in my opinion, but I should more woody material. I should be more clear about what I mean, and that was a big one for me. I was like, I guess I should have been more clear about that because that's what I meant.
We're just talking.
I know, but
You know what
I'm
I'm
just
saying?
saying maybe
It's
it's for helping in terms of helping people
yeah.
out. I should be more clear.
I learned that collecting data is controversial,
It can be, yeah, absolutely.
and that it proves certain things, and that people think it's like you calling somebody out, but it's not. It's literally just we're looking at it's not opinions. It's not we're saying anybody's better than anybody or anything like that.
Truly turning your emotion off and using logic. Like this is
like you collect the data and it just says you need to do this, and that's literally it.
Yeah.
All the other rest of it is just speculation. So let's just get into it. Okay. First question.
Username Laugh Thrash. Who invented the barometer? What was their life like?
Man.
Do you know the answer to this question?
The barometer is a great tool, and we're actually
this one we're giving away
another one
a
out.
6-inch.
A 6-inch, not the whole foot long, but
I don't know who invented the aerometer, but here, let's go with this. I think Thomas Aerometer invented it, and I think so. He had a very interesting life.
His middle name was Tinsy.
Tinsy, Thomas Tinsy Aerometer. And I think he had a very interesting life. He grew up really poor. He was from Brooklyn. He ended up moving to Iowa. Ended up being a farmer, and just honestly was lazy and didn't want to work. And so he invented the tensiometer to get out of work so that he could basically lay behind the barn and smoke weed. So,
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's basically
Thomas
it.
Tinsy.
Yeah, that's basically it.
For a second there, I really thought he was like telling the story. His story.
I was totally telling you. That's fact. That's 100%. No, that's fact.
Okay.
That's fact. You've never heard that? We can Google
It's a
it.
common story.
No,
Almost
we can
as
totally
common
Google
as
it.
Johnny Appleseed.
Yeah. No, it'll be taught in schools soon. And only in certain states, because they're banning things in other states.
Maybe ours.
Yeah, they won't teach it in our schools, because that shit's banned.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's an interesting question, though. Next.
Okay. Let's see. The Raj username. What are some effective ways of eliminating leaf septoria in your soil?
Okay, let me see the question.
Septoria.
So, I don't have an answer for this.
Yeah.
He doesn't have an answer for this, I don't believe.
Being honest.
Yeah, just be honest. We don't. But we thought, starting this out, we wanted to try to give you the best answer, right? Mm-hmm. But we also don't want to say something that's a lie. Mm-hmm. So I honestly think
I can give him my hypothesis.
Don't.
Why?
I think I know who has the answer.
Who?
We're going to call him, and we're going to see. So
It's going to not answer.
Let's see. If he doesn't answer, it doesn't work.
He's calling the shot.
Yeah.
Did you answer?
That's hella funny.
Oh, shit. Let's see. Let's see if we get lucky.
That'd be crazy lucky. That's fine.
Hello? Nick!
Chris!
This is Chris. Yes, you know. All right, there you go. Hey, we're filming a YouTube video, and it's basically people asking questions from Reddit, and we're answering them. And we have a question that I don't feel comfortable answering, and Larry doesn't feel comfortable answering, but I think you have the answer to it. Can I ask you this question?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you introduce Nick.
Yeah, that's
This
smart.
is our first
Okay, so
guest.
this is Nick. Introduce yourself.
My name's Nick Tomasini. Operate Humankind Oregon Consulting. Work on soil and crop nutrition, microbes.
There we go.
Cool.
All right. Is that good,
Nick.
Matthew?
Yeah, Nick, our first guest.
Man, I got in trouble. Man, Matthew's excited. All right, here we go. So this person asks, what are some effective ways of eliminating leaf septoria in your soil?
Leaf septoria in your soil?
Yes.
Gosh, I don't usually go the chemical route or the IPM route. That's kind of in my past.
Yeah.
So what I do now is essentially just rev up the functional groups of the soil food web. I know it's kind of a generic answer, but I'm looking at wanting to see increased beneficial fungal biomass. And so using a biocomplete compost to establish that, maybe some other inoculants, making sure the mycorrhiza is in there. Probably being real careful on my soil nutrition as well, not wanting to add a bunch of nitrogen, at least not all at once. Better to spoon feed than to add it all up front. Otherwise, you just run into some interesting dynamics with an overgrowth of bacteria and opportunistic bacteria, which doesn't really allow these other functional groups of the soil food web to sort of keep pace with that bacteria. So, I'm looking for an aerobic soil environment. I'm looking to see that you're not overwatering that environment. If you are worried about anaerobic conditions in your soil, dig a hole to the bottom of your pot. Make sure that it's not 100% saturated, where when you grab a handful, you see lots of drops streaming out. At least not in between watering. So just managing those conditions in the soil profile, being careful with your nutrition, and making sure that you're regularly inoculating with those that full diversity of beneficials.
That was
That's a great
fucking
answer.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was a
I'm
great
glad we
answer.
didn't try to answer that. All right.
All right, thanks for the call, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Bye.
My hypothesis was correct. I'm not
No,
gonna
I
lie.
agree.
Yeah.
I was gonna-
That's why I looked
Nah,
at you
that
like
was like-
that. I was like,
now,
"Damn,
hang
you
on,
should
though.
let me answer that. I would have said that, but not.
I had the first.
That was much better for
the
everybody
first.
else. That was
The
a lot
first
better.
20% is about what I was gonna say, and then the last 80%, I wasn't gonna say any of that.
Jesus, yeah.
So,
that was
no,
great.
I'm glad.
I mean,
I'm
there's
glad.
a reason
Yeah.
he is who he is.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
great.
Anyways, that
And
was
what
awesome.
Nick
was the
Tomasini.
what was the company name?
Humankind
Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Oregon.
Yeah.
And you can actually see him on Dr. Lane's Soul Food Web website.
Yeah.
And
And hit him up on Instagram.
yeah, he's
awesome.
great.
He doesn't post a ton. He's not big on social
No,
media.
he's
honestly.
very behind the scenes,
He
but
is.
I promise he's someone to.
Dude, smart as
if he speaks, you
fuck.
should listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll ask a question, and then like 3 hours later, you're sitting in your truck on the phone still, and you're just like, I'm so fucking
Yeah,
stupid.
yeah.
Like, dude, I can't tell you
Oh
how
my
many times
gosh.
I've done that.
There's true levels to this, and he's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Nick's
Anyway.
our first guest.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next
if you ever
question.
watched it.
Okay, next question. Username PM00001. How do you adjust light intensity throughout veg, transition, and flower?
Oh, that's a good one. In veg, I do a lot. It's a lot less intense. You don't need too much. They really will just grow, and then we ramp it up closer to.
Yeah, I don't know
Closer
that.
to
They're probably
5
looking
now.
for exact numbers. I don't have exact numbers in my head
No.
because every situation is different, every cultivar is different, every environment's different.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't throw to me that's like us throwing out a feeding schedule.
Yeah. And we're
But I
pretty
would
against that.
I would say what we found out in our commercial grow is when we vegged at 50%, we had the growth we wanted, we had the spacing we wanted, and we were saving AC use. We had the water was right, everything was right, and then we would ramp it up to about 80-90% when we flipped, and then we'd kick it up to 100 about 1 to 2 weeks after that. And that was just based off that environment.
Yeah.
And that's my best answer for that.
It's a great answer. I mean, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Pretty much that's
Yeah.
what I've seen.
I don't think there's a schedule. And I think it depends on what light you're using.
Yeah.
I mean, even
again,
brands.
the cultivar, because we
Yeah.
recently, just in this tent, we grew tropical cherry, and
It stayed like this.
It
compared to what's in there now.
yields, and it looks really nice,
Yeah.
but it's that, especially in veg, it's so wonky, but in flower, it came up. While in veg, if we had the light, the intensity higher, that's what was, I honestly think that's what was causing it to be a little yellow.
Yeah.
Because outside of that, everything looked good. Sep test looked good.
Yeah.
Everything looked fine.
And within the last 4 months, how many times have we switched the light in the 8x8 tent?
A lot.
Yeah.
So
A
we
lot.
go
A few
through
times.
different
Yeah, we
ones.
do.
It's
We
really
Yeah,
totally
a few
do.
times.
Yeah.
I brought in a HLG 650 from my house, and we used that for the time being. And then we had a BIOS, was it LI2
Which was
or
too
Icarus?
much.
And it, man,
too intense
they
and we
say
couldn't adjust it.
they say the engineers who make the lights on the space shuttles made that light. And I can't say that is true or isn't true because that light was very intense.
It's crazy.
But you can't control it.
Yeah.
So was
Hooking it
like,
up to a Trollmaster is too big of a pain in the ass.
yeah, it just didn't have it. But so now we have the Lux LED 650,
645.
645s.
Yeah.
And you can control those, and you can tell it's made by a grower. Like they
Yeah.
flip up and down. They're pretty fancy.
But I think short answer is we veg at about 60%, and then we go up to about 80, 90%, and then if we can bump it up to 100 deep in flower, then we do.
yeah, we do it. We watch the plan in terms of that
Yeah.
one. Cool. Thank you.
That was solid.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Next.
Okay, username Tommy Chong. What's your best method of amending in P and K for flower periods?
Is this the real Tommy Chong?
Is it NPK for flowering periods?
Amending in P and
Yeah.
K.
Gotcha. The best method is to get a soil test. That's it.
By far.
Get a soil test and use the recommendations based off the soil test. Don't deviate from it. Don't do anything extra on top of it. Don't follow a schedule. Don't do the same thing every week or every other week. Get a soil test.
Yeah.
And just listen to the soil test.
Yeah, that was
just
a
the data.
softball one. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Just the data tells you, and it's
Yeah.
it's really as simple as that. I know as growers we all want the best stuff, but at the end of the day, when you have the correct data to tell you what to do, then that's what you
Yeah.
need. That is like all you need.
And like so with us, just for reference, if you get a soil test from us and we give you a free recommendation, we've already gone through the amendments that we feel are safe
We've gotten
for
them
you
heavy metal
to
tested, of
for you
course.
to hopefully, there's no guarantees, pass if you have to test it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a shorter list of things we would use than a lot of other people.
Yeah.
But when you're working with people, everybody has a different list of what they think works for
Yeah.
NP and K.
And we keep that
micronutrients.
list pretty short. If you ever we have a commercial form and a home grow. It says commercial
Yeah.
or personal.
Yeah.
That just lets us know how aggressive we can be because we truly, for a commercial grow, it can
literal
be
kid-
life. And,
literal kid gloves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
literal kid gloves.
yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And the other half of the comment was there's so much variety and uncertainty in the research I've been doing. Thanks, guys.
Don't do research. Just get a
Yeah.
soil test.
Yeah, don't start
do what it
confusing
says,
yourself.
and there's nothing to research. And I shouldn't say that.
Research
learn.
the
No,
soil
research
test,
and learn,
essentially.
get better.
Yeah, definitely learn, but
Yeah.
don't follow getting products pitched to you from us or anybody. Like, don't just I need to use that. Figure out that you
why?
need to use
We
that.
always like to ask people, ask them, why do you need that? And sometimes they think we're just dumb, but really we're trying to get them to
Or that
think,
we're trying to be dicks.
Yeah, and we're really just trying to get them to understand, why do I actually need this? Did I just see it on a video telling me I need this? Or do I have empirical data saying I need this?
Yep.
And when you have that data, then yes, that would make sense why you need that.
Yep.
Outside of that, doesn't really make much
Yeah.
sense.
Stop buying stuff you don't need.
Yeah. And we lose sales because of it, but
We
at the
do.
end of the day,
We 100%
man,
do.
we want to make sure people are doing the best.
I mean, I see it all the time.
Yeah.
When they ask for a certain amount of something.
Or they'll bring something up to the counter, and we're literally why are you buying this? And they just look at you like, I don't
want to
know.
get in
Why am
trouble.
I
My
buying
favorite
it?
one is molasses, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I've never seen a lack of bacteria.
Okay, next question. Username Donkus Value. What is the best way to start our own thermophilic compost? I've been told multiple times by Coot that it is the best input for top quality worm casting. I'm not quite sure how to go about that.
Hang on, since we had a lot of comments about me talking about Coot, this is something where I agree with him on. I think that you can make fire-ass worm castings if you have a fire-ass compost that the worms eat.
Yeah, you can make really good, helps with the diversity, but
What's the best way to make thermophilic compost?
man, a diverse amount of starting materials. Dr. Elaine is amazing at this, but start with
It's
a
literally her
diverse.
shit.
Yeah, this is
It's
what
her
she
shit,
is known
yeah.
for. So look up the soil food web. Go on her website, see what she's talking about. But yeah, it's about starting a diverse group of materials, making sure you have a good amount of woody, brown, green materials, and then what she likes to call party food, party materials, and You'll get it at a certain wetness. You'll mix it all in a certain way, and yeah, you want to make sure that inside of it stays warm enough for long enough to kill seeds, bad biology, and literally just any pathogens. So
two things I want to throw in. When we're doing trying to make protozoal infusions, I think talking about how literally we used grass, but how that process works, and then that goes into picking the right materials that bring those things in. Does that make sense? Because
Yes.
people don't get that. So explain that a little bit.
how to
more.
make a protozoal infusion?
Well, no, but like when we do that, we use grass and a
Yes.
little bit of molasses and some water.
Just a drop of molasses.
Yeah, and so, but why did that work?
So the reason it works is because grass has a shit ton of bacteria. Well, molasses feeds the bacteria, and the reason I made that molasses comment before is because you don't need much molasses for anything but to feed bacteria. With there being a lot of bacteria, kind of going off of what Nick was talking about,
Yep.
bacteria is food for the protozoa.
Exactly.
So that helps with your nutrient cycling. It helps with just everything to keep it short. Because we can do a whole video on just this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now that the bacteria is prevalent due to the molasses, where it came from originally was the grass. Now protozoa just starts coming alive and getting their food, and now you have an abundant amount of protozoa, and that helps your nutrient cycling.
It does that, but that's what it means by picking the right things that bring the right things. But do you want to tell them the cheat code? The cheat code to it?
You tell them the cheat code to it.
All right, the cheat code is you buy some BioComplete compost from whoever. There's a bunch of people that sell it now. And make a couple extract, make your pile, and try to follow as closely as you can with your local ingredients. That's the biggest thing, because I don't like seeing people ship shit from across the country, try to fit in these parameters that they found on a piece of paper. So find shit local, make a decent pile, buy some BioComplete compost, make some extracts, pour it on there a couple of times. Now you got everything you need in there. Now you need to try to make them grow and stay alive throughout the process. Boom, you just cheated the system.
Yeah, and then with all you need is that BioComplete compost.
100%.
That's
So
what
just literally
that's all
you
you
can buy-
need. People come in all the time for inoculants, like, hey, do I need this or that?
Yeah.
And it's like, man, do you ever do compost tea extracts? Do you know what BioComplete compost is? Biologically complete compost is, and man, that's the answer
That's all
about
you got.
90%.
You could literally
of the
buy a
time.
gallon of it from us, and you could inoculate a yard pile. And now you can, if you do it right, you'll have a yard of BioComplete compost.
yeah.
I just pissed off every compost maker.
Yeah. I mean, there's more to it, but yeah, that's pretty
There
much.
is.
You just need a.
But to
Get
cheat in your
started.
backyard, that's
the easiest
it
way
is.
by far.
It is, but you really do. You're going to need a microscope to know that you're doing it right. Just because you do that doesn't mean it's going to turn out right.
Yes, again, knowing what you're actually looking at, what different microbiology looks at, their functions are pretty important. Their morphology, all of that's very important.
Yeah.
To going into making it.
Good.
Cool.
And the BioComplete compost stands for biologically complete.
Biologically complete. Man, we should say that. We're going to get sued.
Yeah,
We said
biologically complete. BioComplete is trademarked.
Yeah, BioComplete is trademarked.
The Soil
we
Food Web.
can't say BioComplete, so we're saying biologically complete. I retract all
I mean,
of
we
my
all know
statements.
what we mean. Yeah, come on now. We all know what
I don't
we
wanna
mean.
get sued.
But yeah, it's also we're saying if you want to learn really about compost, talk to Dr. Elaine. So
Totally.
I don't know about getting sued about. We're trying to help her out.
I mean, I am, but I also
She's
have
great in terms
emails
of
that I have
compost.
emails to show you.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's amazing in terms of compost.
Well,
Let's say
I
that.
Next
have emails to
question.
show you.
All right, let's go.
We can go on and on about this.
Yeah, like I said, we can make a whole video.
Okay, Chris is gonna like this username.
Okay.
The username is hentai heat stroke.
Why do you like that, Chris?
Funny. Oh God, that's so good. That's the best.
And the question is
That name could go a couple different ways. I had different pictures in my mind on that one.
Oh, you have pictures?
Yeah, I see. I'm very visual.
Okay, the question is, how big of a deal is dechlorinating water for living soil grows?
It's
Crucial.
a big fucking.
Yeah,
deal.
it's crucial. It's
This
absolutely
person,
crucial.
I've been filling buckets and leaving them uncovered for 24 hours and have had good results.
Okay.
At what point, if ever, does it make sense to get into RO/filtered water?
This is
Okay, this is-
another
this is-
video within itself because this will go in with a lot of
solid
stuff.
question. Just think of the chlorine as just microbe killers.
Mm-hmm.
And what we see is if you don't remove that chlorine, first off, you're going to need to know the difference between chlorine and chloramine.
Yep.
If you're in the city, 80+% of the time, 90% of the time in America, you're going to have chloramine, which you can't bubble out. Now, people are going to say, I can add humic acid, I can add compost, do all this shit. I don't know why I would risk that. I wouldn't risk that. I would just buy a fucking filter from a company that spent millions of dollars testing that out, knowing that it's going to get removed. That being said, what we see is if you don't remove the chlorine or chloramine, it's about 2 to 3 rounds in, your plants start looking like shit, and you're not gonna be able to figure it out.
Right. I'm doing everything right. Everything looks
Nutrition's
good.
right.
I don't know
Everything's
what's
right.
going on.
Yep, and you can't figure it out. And it's literally that window, 2 to 3 rounds.
So where
It's
microscope
lights out.
comes in,
Yeah,
because
lights
you'll
out.
see that the biology's.
So
you know,
I think from the very beginning, you always want to filter it.
Yeah, for sure.
If you are, don't have a lot of money, get a fucking RV filter off Amazon.
I use
a
that.
hose-in
I
filter.
use it all the time.
Yeah, we sell them. They work. They're like $30. The thing to keep in mind with any filter, especially that filter, the slower the water goes through, the more it filters. If you're fucking blasting that shit through there and it's coming out like, I mean, you're still gonna. Maybe you go 5-6 rounds.
Yeah.
And it all dies then. But
Yeah.
slower it goes, the better. And I think it's 100% fucking crucial that you take the chlorine and chloramine out.
Yeah, for sure. And especially, we notice with well water, people not in the city, they're on well water, so it's not the same situation with them. With them, that would go with commercial farms and heavy metal situation. So like I said, that's why I was
And
talking
so
about
like
it
we're not
being a
even,
video.
we've changed our stance on RO. Because we
Yeah.
have customers now
Man.
that have taught us that we were wrong because they're in a rural area. There's just slight amounts of arsenic in their water and it fluctuates. It's not steady. So you could test it and it comes out clean, but they're failing. And then you throw RO on there and now all of a sudden they're passing. And so it taught us that there are some circumstances that you have to use RO. If you're going to use RO, you're going to want to remineralize with something like gypsum or something like
just a
that.
pinch, just a pinch.
A little bit. But also what we've noticed in Oklahoma, because we have, the ppms are so high in water, you could run like 300, 500. I mean, we have customers that have 900 parts per million in it. You run that through RO and you end up usually around 50 to 125 parts per million. You don't have to remineralize.
Yeah.
You're just solid. So that's a solid question though.
That
That's
was a
good.
really good question. Like I said, a lot of these we can go on tangents about
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay, last question.
Cool.
Username Dirt Meta Zen. Any ways to do good compost teas without using manures from vertebrates?
From vertebrates, that's interesting. First off, that's a compost tea rant. You want to go on a compost tea rant on why not to do it and why an extract is better?
Okay, so again, everything's said with an asterisk, but just the average Joe doesn't have a microscope and more specifically
Training.
knowledge, and training on how to really use a microscope. So with that being said, when you're brewing something, although you're adding food into that, and you're adding air all into that, and it should be fine, bacteria reproduces so fast that it can, although you're pumping air into it, it can still be anaerobic. Just because it would be like 1 million people in one 200 square foot room. Although there is technically air in there, there's just not enough. And
even if it doesn't go anaerobic, you could just end up making a bacterial soup.
Yeah, you could just
And it
make
can be aerobic,
bacterial soup.
And you might have a stray something in there.
I wouldn't
flagellate or
trust
something.
it. It's just something
I
you
agree.
can't trust and you can't guarantee because you might be brewing it for 24 hours and it might not be long enough for 36 hours. I don't know.
So to save the day, you do an extract.
To save the day, it takes 2 minutes of your time. You just, again, this is where biologically complete compost saves the day as well.
Yeah.
Just get some of that, a couple cups of that, make an extract, compost tea extract by just dipping it. It's crucial you don't massage it, but just dip it in the bucket, work the water so the microorganisms are separating from the compost, aka parent material. And
You're just microbe extracting.
yeah,
You're
and then you're
microbe
just doing
farming.
extracting. You know what's on that
and you're not
compost. so boom,
replicating
it's in
them
there.
because that's what the thing is.
That's
Everybody
the crucial.
thinks
You're not replicating.
you're going to make a tea and you're going to replicate them, and that's the right thing. And that's how I came up when I first started learning about soil food web, and I got all the, I got taught from a friend to use a microscope and had all their material over a decade ago. I was the compost tea freak, dude. We're spraying it on everything, doing it on everything. I could make teas and have everything in it that I wanted, but it's a fucking waste of time. It's so easy to do an extract.
Yeah, it's 2 minutes.
So
Like,
easy.
it literally takes 2 minutes, if that. And the other portion of it is when you brew a compost tea, bacteria is producing glues. The microbes are producing glues so they can stick on a surface immediately. So if you're trying to water that into your soil, you're only getting that microbiology in that very top surface.
Yeah.
And whereas an extract, although there are active organisms, there's not nearly as many. So it can go a lot deeper in your soil, and that's how you can get microbiology a lot deeper in your soil versus just brewing a tea.
I was just listening to you. how far deep the microbes go and how sticky they are. Sorry.
Sticky.
The only thing in my head was micro bukkake in the soil on the top layer.
Yeah, it sticks to the top. The face of the soil. It sticks to the face of the soil.
Literally the
But-
face of the soil.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right.
Can we talk about that YouTube comment?
What YouTube comment?
The one we were talking about right before we're shooting.
Which one?
The aerometer and how wet.
Oh, that
Oh my
somebody
gosh.
used the aerometer to check the wetness of their girl, and it worked real well. That's an off-label prescription for these that we can't fully endorse
Yeah,
in
you
case
can't
somebody
endorse
gets
that.
hurt. But I mean, we're also not judgmental.
Yeah.
So
Whatever you're into.
whatever floats your boat.
Yeah.
Right. Is that it? Are we good?
That's it.
Cool.
All right, let's do it. I think those are solid questions, aren't they? What?
Yeah, they are solid questions. Made you look. I'm just kidding.
Let's pick the winner.
Yeah, no. This one feels cool.
Who is it?
You're gonna love this one. Hentai heat stroke.
Nice.
How big of a deal is dechlorinating water
Yes.
for living soil growers? I guess we
So
could just
here, you know
post
what we're
that
gonna do?
on the video.
So this is the dechlorinating. Here's what we're gonna do. Do we have inline
We do.
filters?
Yeah.
Yep.
Check to see if there's one on the shelf. Yeah.
behind you.
Here, let me grab.
yeah.
Hand me one. So hentai heat stroke. You get the hat,
6-inch
stickers,
aerometer.
T-shirt, 6-inch aerometer, and we're gonna throw you in a water filter. Just
Yeah,
remember.
just screw it to a water hose.
Yeah, the slower it goes through, the better off. There you go. That was
Yeah,
awesome question.
Cool.
That's
And
solid.
you got a funny name. Good job
Yeah,
for the name. That's
definitely.
funny.
So,
Make sure to like, subscribe.
oh, totally.
Do
Yeah, all that
like,
stuff.
comment, subscribe,
Yeah,
share.
we have like a whole, and I didn't even.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah. If you enjoyed the video, please like it. It helps spread it on the algorithm for us because we do get age restricted. Subscribe to us if you enjoy the content and leave your
Again,
comments.
Yeah, if you have better answers,
We
put 'em
try
there.
to. The last one got a ton of interaction, and we try to interact. I literally only deleted one comment. The rest I approved all of them. Even the guy that tested his girl's coochie fluids with that, I approved it. I don't care. So we really try to just
Keep it open.
yeah, keep it open as much as possible. And if you're not following us on Instagram, follow us on Instagram, and watch out for episode number 3 coming up
Yeah.
soon.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Deuces.